Good morning. Sounds good. Wow, what an intro. It's no secret that our economy is not in the best, the world that we're living right now is not in the best shape economically. I'll try to make this sound less pessimistic, I promise. But we need to tackle the global change that we're currently experiencing. But after 2 years of market disruption because of COVID, followed by international conflict, which has affected the global energy market massively. This has shot inflation up to the roof, something these two generations are experiencing for the first time. And we're all feeling it quite obviously. Now, government have been putting extensive effort into tackling the inflation point of view by raising interest, but that's been taken way too slowly. Now, the reality is that we're left with two-sided economic mess. We have inflation is still high, and we have high cost of borrowing. Now, think how this impacts literally everyone. Everybody around us is being impacted by this reality. Think how inflation put immense pressure on consumers to make a very basic purchase decision, whether I should buy this item or not, and how that puts pressure on the supply side of things depending on which industry you're in. Think about producers who have to rethink their pricing strategy so that they remain profitable without jeopardizing their customer base to a cheaper competition. Look at the global tech companies who were challenged to keep their bottom line looking healthy every quarter until they give up and had to cut down sharp costs by, we all seen the layoff that happened earlier this year, very shocking. And we might see expansion projects being put on hold in the near term. And lastly, think about those companies that relied on a very single revenue stream model as their business model, and how they're being pushed to rethink their monetization strategy to remain in business. In our short talk today, we will focus on this prolonged market change and how it's affecting consumers, how it's shifting their behavior, and also demonstrate some examples of how companies showed resilience in tackling such change. And we will keep those examples to our industry at MBC and Shahid, which is content and entertainment. This takes us to our first topic, shift in content consumption. Does this sound good? Shift in content consumption, or shift in the way users interacting with content providers. You all probably noticed that since 2019, paid content providers or streamers are having their sweet moment. Since 2019, I believe the number was 7 new streaming services have popped up, either rebranded or launched from scratch. HBO Max, Discovery Plus, Binge TV, and many others. And we're expecting this number to keep growing in the future, whether being international or regional players, but it's likely to keep growing. Now, one may say the demand for content, it keeps accelerating around the world. We've seen that for the past easily 10 years. But what's different this time is that the pie of content provider is growing way more than ever. There was no time where we had that many players providing paid content as a service. And something like this, having many players in the same industry, it's likely to change the way people interact with those players. And we are all wondering and interested to see whether those customers will stay loyal to a single paid content provider or will jump from one and another, and we'll talk about this a little bit more. This is especially true that here in the UAE, households on average have no more than 2.5 paid subscription when it comes to content, and that number in the US is 3. And that puts data don't lie. So that number shows you that it's very likely that consumers will continuously evaluate whether they want to stick with that content provider or not, and it's likely that they will continuously evaluate content based on the relevance to them, the quality of that content or depth of the library, And of course, the price, especially given that the current situation, people's wallets is being squeezed. Now think also about other users may join something referred to as streaming cyclers. Streaming cyclers, I'm not sure if it's a term or not, but I picked it up from the internet. It means that people sign up for a service to binge watch a show or two they heard in the office or they heard between the friends, only to cancel when something new comes up elsewhere. So something like this puts an immense pressure on content providers to come up with new ways to reduce churn, to incentivize users to remain on the platform through loyalty program or possibly bundling their benefits with another players. Look at Apple. Apple introduced Apple One, which has a 5 app in one under one subscription. Something like this, we're likely to see something like this continue to grow with all players to remain in business. In any case, these increased competition in this area and weakening loyalty of consumers to one player, and finally the on and off subscription approach where people may cancel with no strings attached, this will put so much pressure or will hinder the ability for such companies to project their growth or their revenues in the future, because that model is not reliable, given that they stick with a single subscription-based model. Which takes us to our next topic, which tackles the diversification of revenue stream and the evolution of business model during crisis.
Thank you, Jalal. Okay, that was loud. So the industry as we stand now comes with 2 revenue streams. It's either AVOD, which is an ad-based video on demand, or SVOD, which is a subscription-based video on demand. It's interesting to see that home entertainment during economic uncertainties is generally good, as people tend to not to go out and stay at home. But however, a research done by Kantar shows a different reality to the show. 24% increase in I want to save money in the US. It's just because of I want to cancel my subscription. 59% in the UK alone. This just led us to believe that agencies and content providers need to find a new revenue stream. Having said that, the more reliance on ad-based video on demand. It's something between AVOD and SVOD, which is an ad-based tier. Over and above that, streaming services will also venture into something in e-commerce. Like Disney Plus have introduced selling merchandises for their brands like Star Wars and stuff on their service. Moving into content, which we will see more and more brands collaborating with the streaming services in creating their own brand integration. We've seen it on Shahid, we've seen it on Prime Video. We most probably see it more on Netflix and Disney and Apple TV+. With more branded content, this fuels local content, originals. Originals are made in the same country. It's local, it's localized, it's more relevant to consumers, and by being more relevant to consumers is being more relevant to brands. We've seen it in first hand as Shahid's original Rashash did great last year, did almost 36 million views in 2021 alone. So this is a great addition to what we see in 2023. And my fourth point, Daniel had already spoiled it, which is AI. With the introduction of AI and the advancement in technology, if brands won't make it to pre-production, we can do post-production. And post-production product placement is a trend that's going to be more and more used in 2023, where an AI scans the episodes that are already filmed runs through the scenes, selects a perfect scene with a perfect scenario that fits the actual brand. After that, we can use this brand indoor or outdoor. Even we can use an outdoor signage in the same show. And this leads us to the third part, the privacy.
Piracy.
And piracy, same thing.
Thank you. So this is the last and least favorite topic, piracy. See, piracy is it's neither a prediction or a new thing. Ever since the internet was there, pirated content has been available. Ever since the internet was there and internet speed was fast enough, pirated content is being distributed online. But what is different this time is with more players joining the rich paid content industry, the more pirated content there will be. There's no way out of this. It kind of goes hands in hands and it's positively correlated. The more content, more paid content available, the more pirated content. But the thing is with pirated content is that they actually benefiting more from this industry than those who are creating it. Because pirates don't have restrictions on how they display content. They can easily group Netflix, Disney+, Shahid under one roof, offering it all for free. Especially given that economic situation may have effect on squeezed wallet and less budget to spend, we are expecting to see more people consuming free content, free pirated content online. What we also predict that paid content players will join forces to combat piracy. We at NBC, we have joined the ACE Association, which stands for Alliance for Creativity and Entertainment, which is main purpose is to combat piracy and put a kind of a limit their spread online, and we'll see how that goes. But before we do, I want to show you this piece of information that was shocking to us when we were making the research. According to Kearney, 27 million households in MENA have access to pay TV. Do you guys want to take a guess of how many of those actually pay for it out of 27? 5? Close. 7. Who said 7? 7. 25% of people who have access to pay TV actually pay for it. It's a shocking, shocking number. That means there are people benefiting from that content way more than those who are creating it. And we're not sure if that's going to go away that easily. That's the truth. That's it for us. Short, sweet.